Hello everyone, welcome back to Math Specs. My name is Stephanie and today we're going to continue with our Precalculus lecture. Today we're going to be discussing the difference quotient and it will be a short and brief introduction. So let's get started. So the difference quotient is a central theme in calculus, and this is why we're briefly introducing it now so that you can get used to it and so that you've already seen it. And it basically describes the slope of a secant line, and it is used in conjunction with limits. And it also helps us with the definition of derivatives. So this is a very important concept and theme in calculus, and so we're introducing it now so that you have experience with it. So what is the equation? Also, it is used to calculate instantaneous rates of change in calculus, and it represents the average rate of change for us, and the equation is this. It's f of a plus h minus f of a all over h. Okay? In this slide, we have a graphical representation of the average rate of change of a function. To the left, when our function, which is in red, f of x is increasing, oh, sorry about that. When f is increasing, our average rate of change is going to be positive, and the slope of this line will also be positive. To the right, when f is decreasing, this function in red, the average rate of change is going to be decreasing, or also positive. We could also say right here, increasing. And our slope is going to be negative. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue to an example. In this example, we're given f of x is equal to the square root of x plus 1, and we're going to use our difference quotient. So our first step will be to write the equation. So we're going to write this. So it'll be a good time to commit this to memory. In our second step, we're going to utilize this and our function in order to substitute. So f of a plus h, when we use our function, is going to be a plus h plus 1, and all of it under the square root. F of a will be a plus 1, all under the square root. So now we are going to plug it in. So we will write, we're going to use our difference quotient up here to guide us. So we're going to write a plus h plus 1 all under the square root minus the square root of a plus 1. All of this is going to be divided by h. Okay, and in order to approach this, we're going to rationalize the numerator. So we're going to continue our work up here. So in order to rationalize, we're going to write a plus h plus 1 all under the square root minus a plus 1 under the square root. All of this over h. And we're going to multiply this by a plus h plus 1 plus the square root of a plus 1 on top and bottom. So a plus h plus 1 under the square root plus the square root of a plus 1. Then we multiply, so we are left with a plus h plus 1 minus, in our parentheses for a plus 1, over h times the square root of a plus h plus 1 plus a plus 1. And we distribute our negative sign here in the numerator. So a plus h plus 1 minus a minus 1 all over whatever we have here at the denominator. Okay, so go ahead and take a look at this numerator for a second and see if anything cancels for you. And indeed, we do have some things that cancel. Let me go ahead and use a different color. So the A's will cancel and the 1's will cancel. And also the H's will cancel here, but we'll leave that. So we'll have H over H, square root of A plus H plus 1, plus the square root of A plus 1. Now we can cancel our H's. And we are left with 1 in the numerator over the square root of A plus H plus 1 plus the square root of A plus 1. Okay, and this would be your final answer because this was sort of a brief introduction to how to use the difference quotient, how to substitute, and how to tackle it. We rationalize the numerator. And so if you were in a calculus class, this would be a pre-calc skill that you would need to have, because with this, you would then take the limit of this, whatever you have here. And of course, this is a very important concept, like we mentioned, when you start to learn limits and derivatives. So I hope that this is helpful. And if you have any questions, of course, I'd be more than willing to answer them. And so that was our brief introduction to the difference quotient and its centrality in calculus. Next time we will graph some functions. So we're going to graph parent functions like the linear functions and some power functions like parabolas. And next lecture is going to be pretty special because it's going to have an emphasis on your participation. I'm going to provide you notes in a PDF format so that you can participate and graph along with me. And of course, this will be in the next pre-calculus lecture. And I hope that you can join me for that. Thank you so much for your time and attention today. I really do appreciate it. And I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day.